A long time ago in ancient India, there was a kingdom named Vikramgarh, ruled by a very cruel and ruthless King Vikral Singh. The king used to marry a new girl every day and hang his newly married wife the very next day. All his subjects were very unhappy with these harsh and cruel decisions of the king. The king's ministers and courtiers were also very unhappy with him, but they did not have the courage to express their displeasure in front of the king or try to convince him. The subjects of Gagar on the Sayava's tower were very unhappy. The king's ministers do not do their subjects' bidding. The subjects were very unhappy about this. Even after persuasion, the subjects did not do it. A silence with a strange atmosphere of fear used to prevail in the entire kingdom. The people of the kingdom only knew that the king marries a new girl every day, and the next morning he kills her. But why does he do this? No one knew the reason behind this. An old magician lived with his daughter Sudakshina in the dense forests on the southern edge of the kingdom. He was well aware of the king's deeds, so in time he left the city and started living outside in the forest. His daughter Sudakshina was a very beautiful, intelligent and pure-hearted girl. She helped everyone who came to her father. If someone came sick, she would make him well and cure him. If a sad soul came to her, she would comfort him with her words. One day when the magician had to go to the city in a car, Sudakshina also insisted on going with her father that day. When both of them reached the entrance of the city, people from the city were coming crying and cursing the king, today again carrying the dead body of a girl hanged by the king. When the old magician saw them, it did not take him long to understand the whole matter. He immediately asked his daughter to leave from there. But when Sudakshina saw those weeping people, her heart melted. She said, "No, father, first I want to know why these people are so sad and why they fight." When Sudakshina refused, those people told her their whole painful story. Hearing everything, Sudakshina was stunned. After some time she regained her senses and said to her father, "Father, I want to marry the king." Hearing this from the daughter's mouth, the magician was stunned and said, "Daughter, have you gone mad that you are saying such a thing? You tell me now that the king gets his wife killed the very next day." Sudakshina said, "Father, I know very well what I am saying. You just allow me to go to the king. If I can change a cruel person on the strength of my intelligence, compassion and truth, then this will be the biggest achievement of my life. Otherwise, everyone has to die one day. And one's death is not in the hands of the king but in the hands of the Almighty." After a lot of talk, the magician had to give in to his daughter's insistence. With a heavy heart, he had to give in to his daughter's insistence. He allowed her to go to the king. On meeting her father, Sudakshina bowed down to him, and with a firm resolve, she headed towards the king's palace. After all, why did the king hang his newly wedded wife a day after the marriage? The king was not so cruel and heartless from the beginning. He was a very good-hearted king who loved his subjects. When he became eligible for marriage, his father, King Nansen, got him married to a girl named Nandasen. Rupvati was a very beautiful woman just like her name. King Vikral Singh also became impressed by her beauty. He started loving his wife with all his heart. Everything was going well. But then one day it happened that the ground slipped from under the king's feet. One day the king went straight from the court to the queen's house. When he reached the queen's room, he saw that his wife Rupvati was making love with a slave. Seeing this, King Vikral Singh's world was destroyed. He immediately got his wife and that slave buried alive in a wall. After the death of Queen Rupvati, the king started drowning in a sea of anonymity. He stopped meeting everyone. He stopped going to the court. He started keeping himself locked in a dark room. Whenever the king closed his eyes, he saw that his wife was in love with a slave. He remembered that scene of his wife and slave. There was time too. But the king was not able to forget that scene. From there a demon was born inside the king, and he started burning in the fire of revenge. The king called experienced painters, got that scene of the slave with the queen painted exactly as it was, and got that picture hung in his bedroom. The king was so hurt by his wife's infidelity that now he started considering the entire female gender to be unfaithful. This fire of hatred towards women in his heart never diminished. That is why he got that picture of that moment painted and hung it in his room. In anger, the Andaraja decided that he would marry a new woman every day. and the next day he would kill her. In the beginning, the ministers tried to convince the king a lot about this painful decision, but the king did not listen to anyone. From then till now the king was living a life full of cruelty and brutality. Meanwhile, the magician's daughter Sudakshina also reached the king's palace. She told the palace guards that she wanted to meet the king. She wanted to become his wife. Hearing this, the guards stared at her with strange eyes and silently passed on her message to the king. The king was also confused as to who is this crazy girl who wants to embrace death itself. He ordered the servants to bring her to him immediately. The king saw Sudakshina coming with the soldiers. He kept looking at her. He had never seen such an innocent and beautiful girl till date. Seeing her, a happy smile came on the king's face, but soon he became sad again. I had decided to marry you only after knowing everything. King Vikral said in surprise, "Okay, if you know everything and this is your decision, then I have no objection. Prepare for the wedding, we will marry you tomorrow itself." The king and the magician's daughter get married. The magician's daughter Sudakshina becomes a queen and the king's wife. At night, Sudakshina, all dressed up, sits on the wedding bed and waits for the king. When King Vikral Singh comes to his room and sees the magician's daughter dressed as a bride, he is impressed by her beauty. But then his attention goes towards his wife's picture on the wall. On seeing her, the king becomes very angry. All his memories are refreshed. The king remembers the women's infidelity. But in a corner of the king's heart, seeing Sudakshina's courage, her simplicity and beauty, there is a special place for her, or say it was a custom. The king angrily said to Sudakshina, "Why did you do this foolish thing, even knowing that tomorrow morning we will get you killed?" The newly married queen said with great courtesy and respect, "My lord, this decision has been taken by the Almighty, and I accept his decision in any case." The king said, "Even after knowing what will happen to you in the morning?" Queen Sudakshina said, "Maharaj, I know very well that as soon as the morning comes you will get me killed. But before that I have the whole night today. And the happiness of love is not measured by length, but its depth is seen." The king said, "These deceptive words of yours will not have any effect on me." Queen Sudakshina said with great affection and dignity, "O Lord, I am waiting for you for one night. Even if I have taken it, I am your wife. I have full right over this night. Whatever you want to do in the morning, you can do it," she said, "Maharaj. But for now, leave this anger of yours, and calm down a bit. Listen to what Queen Sudakshina says." The king's anger cools down, and he sits comfortably on a chair kept in the room. Queen Sudakshina said, "Maharaj, what should I tell you to entertain you tonight? Tell me a story. Tell me a couplet or a shairi, or sing a song." The king said, "You are my wife for one night, and you have full right over this night. Come on, you tell me a story." The queen starts telling a story to the king with great respect. There was a businessman. He had a wife, a young daughter and 2 young sons. As the daughter was young, the businessman was worried about her marriage day and night. He wanted to save money and marry his daughter with great pomp and show. Once he had to go abroad for business. The journey was long. He tells his family that he will return in a few days. While leaving, his daughter gives him dates and says, "Baba, the journey is long. If you feel hungry, eat them on the way." The daughter gave them to you. The merchant leaves for his country with the dates. Due to the long journey and the scorching sun, he gets tired while walking. Then he sees a well on the way. He thought, "Why not rest here for a while? I will sit comfortably and eat dates and drink cold water. Then I will leave for my country leisurely." With this thought, he sits on the edge of the well and starts eating dates leisurely. While eating dates, the date falls from his hand into the well. As soon as the date falls into the water of the well becomes absolutely clean and pure. And then a demon full of anger comes out from inside the well. The demon's eyes were red and he had a sharp sword in his hands. Seeing all this, the merchant is terrified. He starts trembling with fear. The demon angrily tells the merchant, "I will not leave you. I will cut you into pieces with my sword." The merchant was already scared. Hearing this, he starts trembling with fear and says, "O demon, what harm have I done to you? Why do you want to kill me?" The demon said, "O human being, the date palm you threw in the well got stuck in the throat of my innocent child, which caused his death." The merchant said, "Forgive me, Demon King, I did not see your son anywhere, and that date palm fell into the well by mistake." The demon said angrily, "We demons are not visible to you humans, you do not know anything. If your revenge will be accomplished by killing me, then I agree. But I have one condition." The demon said, "What kind of condition is this?" The merchant said with a heavy heart, "I still have many responsibilities. I have taken loans from people. I have to pay that loan and marry my young daughter. Once I fulfill these responsibilities, after that I will come to you myself, then you can take your revenge." Hearing this, the demon starts thinking. While telling this story, it becomes morning and the queen stops telling the tale. The king said, "Why did you become silent? Tell me whether the demon killed the merchant, or gave him some time as per his wish." The queen said, "Maharaj, the night is over, now it is morning and the time has come for me to die." The king said, "But at least tell me whether the demon killed him or left him." The queen said, "O king, the story is very long. It needs time to tell the whole story, and now the time is over." Hearing this, the king starts thinking. After thinking for a while, the king tells his newly married queen, "Don't worry, we will cure time, we will give you one more day of life. Now you tell the story." Then the queen said, "No, my king, stories are told at night. It is morning time, you do your royal work, I will tell the rest of the story at night." Listening to this, the king thinks, "How many girls came to me and were killed?" The fear of death was clearly visible on everyone's face. But there is no such thing as fear. Anyway, I found her story very interesting, so I spared her life for today only. Tomorrow she will also face the same fate. The king leaves from there, and gets busy in his royal works for the whole day. Here the queen prays to the Almighty with folded hands, "O Lord, O God, give wisdom to my husband. Forgive his sins and show him the right path, Lord." It is evening time. The king comes to the room impatiently and says, "Queen, now start telling the story quickly." Seeing the king's impatience, the queen says, "Have some patience, Maharaj, I will serve food for you. First have your food, then I will start telling the rest of the story." And serves food to the king. The king said, "This is the work of servants, why are you doing this?" The queen said lovingly, "No, my lord, it is the duty of a wife to take care of her husband." The king said, "You don't have to spend your whole life with me, and anyway after tonight servants are not to do this work." The queen said, "O Lord, even if it is just tonight, I got a chance to serve you, I will be able to die peacefully. I served my husband as much time as I got." Hearing this, the king's heart felt very relaxed. But then he remembered his wife's infidelity. The king said angrily, "Don't talk to me about these useless things and start telling the story quickly." Listening to the king, the queen started telling the story. After listening to the merchant, the demon thought for a while and said, "If I give you some time, what is the guarantee that you will come back?" The merchant said, "O demon king, I swear in the name of God that I will definitely come here after completing my work and surrender myself to you, believe me." The merchant thanks the demon and leaves for his home. After a few days of travel, he reaches his home. Seeing the merchant home, his wife and children become happy. His wife says, "Swami, you must be well. Wash your hands and face, I will prepare food for you." This time I don't know why my heart was very nervous. Thank God you came home safely. Hearing these words from his wife, the merchant's heart was filled with pain. He thought, when I will go forever, what will happen to my wife and children? The merchant had written the remaining days of his life on paper. Slowly time was passing by. And the days of the merchant's life too. He found a suitable match for his daughter. He got her married and sent her off. Along with happiness, the merchant was also sad from inside because today was his last night. Tomorrow is your last day. Tomorrow that demon will tear you into pieces. The merchant was thinking all this while lying on the bed. With sleepy eyes and a sad heart, the merchant sits up and starts crying. Hearing his crying, his wife also wakes up. Seeing the merchant crying like this, she gets nervous and asks him, "What happened, Swami? Why are you crying?" At first, the merchant tries to avoid the topic, but when his wife asks him more insistently, he breaks down and tells the whole story to his wife while crying. Hearing the whole thing, the merchant's wife's heart comes to her mouth. She gets agitated and says, "Swami, I will go to that demon in your place, whatever happens to me, even if that demon takes my life, but I will save you. I will not let anything happen." The king says in the middle of the story, "Wow, what a need of a woman, is there such a need in the world, even angels bow their head at the doorstep of such a noble and faithful wife." The queen says, "You are absolutely right, Maharaj. There are some bad women because of whom fingers are pointed at all women and all are considered the same." Hearing this, the king gets into thinking. The queen starts telling the rest of the story. "Businessman, it is I who have made a mistake and I will have to bear the punishment for this mistake. You take care of my children. Never let them feel my absence." The businessman explains a lot to his wife. In this way, the night passes and it becomes morning. With a heavy heart, the businessman hugs his small children and wife, bids them farewell and sets out for the journey. After covering a long distance, he reaches the same place where he met that demon. The merchant calls out to the demon, "O demon king, I have come to you, my 40 days are over, come and take my life and complete your revenge." Hearing the merchant's words, the demon comes out and says to the merchant, "You are very brave, who came to me in the mouth of death, but O human being, I will not kill you, because I have forgiven you." The demon further says, "When you asked me for time, I did not trust you. That is why I was following you from that day. Whatever you said was absolutely true. Now go and take care of your wife and children. They are crying and in a bad condition without you." Hearing these words from the demon, the merchant's happiness knew no bounds. He thanked the demon with folded hands. By the time the story ended, the king had become completely emotional. He was now looking at the queen with loving eyes. The queen said, "O Maharaj, all women are not the same at all, and until you remove that picture from your room, your pain will never reduce, and you will consider every woman a sinner." Hearing this, the king destroys the picture of his unfaithful wife, and holding the queen's hands in his own, says, "O queen, today you have changed my heart. I don't know how many sins I have committed, O queen." The queen said, "O Maharaj, if you want to kill me, then do so, but I have one condition, that you should kill me not with the hands of soldiers, but with your own hands. I cannot bear at all that a soldier touches me. If I die at your hands, my soul will find peace." The king said, "No, my queen, I will not do anything to you. You are the goddess who will break my hollow illusion and take me out of a life full of shame. O my love, I will always keep you on my eyelids. May God never forgive me for the sins I have committed. But in the rest of my life, I just want to share happiness with my subjects and you." On the other hand, when the magician came to know that his daughter is not only safe but has become the beloved queen who opened the eyes of the king, and the king has now become a good man, his happiness knew no bounds. Raja Vikral Singh Rani Sudakshan. Love finally showed him a new path. Seeing his honesty and dedication, the demon forgave him and he was able to return home.